Hey guys, welcome to the Skull Show. It's your host Paxton. We're here for week 5 with Jason, and we weren't here week 4 due to injury reasons. So we're back for week 5. We did make our predictions on Instagram, and I will post some every week now because it probably is easier. So you want to start off with bold predictions or game predictions first?
We can do game. So after passing away last week, you're alive.
Yep,
Well,
I'm back.
that's good
I
news.
didn't go on IR like Tua. So
Tua's done.
game predictions standings right now. Very tight race. You're at 53.1%, and I'm at 51.6%. So I'm pretty. It's actually one game difference for those at home keeping track. Last week we both went 9-16. You went 9-16 the week before that, and I went 8-16, and that's the only difference in our games. So been pretty similar so far. No bold predictions have come off the board since I last updated it, so we can get right into game predictions. So, first game tomorrow night, which will be tonight at the time this is posted, Buccaneers at Falcons. Who you got?
Bucks.
I'm also gonna go with the Buccaneers. They've been playing well lately, and I don't know. I don't think Kirko can win another primetime game. He already got one this year. Next game, which actually first we should probably recap the Vikings game, who now since we last saw them, we were asking the question, are they legit after week 3? Now after week 2 we were saying, are they like legit, or is it just a win against the Giants that they should win, or was it a fluke? Now since we recorded that, they've crushed the Texans and then for the most part crushed the Packers, although they did come back. So you think the Vikings are legit yet, or you still got some proving they still got proving to do?
I think they're a legit playoff contender, but in the Packers game that we attended at Lambeau,
Yep.
2 wins in a row there, back-to-back years, which doesn't happen often. Actually, the last time it happened was 1992 and 1993. I looked it up. So that's a long time. 30 years? 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things that I didn't like were the defense in the second half. The Packers definitely found some things that other teams have not against the Vikings defense. So that's a cause for concern, especially next week against the Jets with a veteran quarterback like A-Raj. So I'm
He
concerned about the
scored 9 points
defense.
versus the Broncos last week, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm still concerned. And then the other thing, I got a statistic for you. I'm not a big Dan Barreiro guy, bumper to bumper with Barreiro, but I had a little drive time today for work, and he pointed out some very good stats. And this is what scares me about Smiley to begin with. Even though they're 4-0, the Vikings lead the league in pass to rush ratio. And he's gotta quit being so stubborn. Even though they're winning, he's got to run the ball more.
The Vikings are 22nd in passing attempts and are 12th in running attempts. So I don't know.
So actually it was red zone. Within the red zone is what he's talking about. So
Oh, okay.
um, yes, 4-0, great. Running the ball more overall, good. But he's got to. Last year they had 1 rushing touchdown, and I understand they had horrible running backs, or maybe they had 0. I don't even remember.
They
But
had they had a few they had a few at the end of the year because of Chandler emerged and
okay,
Dobbs was a quarterback, which will get a few.
okay, maybe it was by a running back. But anyway, he's got to run the
Yeah, it
ball
was.
more. He can't become too pass happy. A little concerned about that. So there's a couple things they need to clean up. So that's the long-winded answer that they're probably a legitimate playoff contender, but they are not near a Super Bowl contender at this point.
All right, we've done this every week because they keep exceeding expectations. So final record prediction. I've bumped mine up to 10-6. Mine was 9-8. I put mine to 10-6. I still think 6 losses is very feasible. So that means they go 6-6 in the last 12, which isn't bad.
I'm gonna stay with 8-9 until I see
Or
more.
actually, no, I want 6 losses. So I think that means 11-6 with the new record. Although I don't know whether I want 10 wins or 6 losses more. So actually no, I'm gonna go 10-7. 10-7 is my prediction now.
I'm staying at 8-9. We'll reevaluate after the bye week.
After the bye week, so that means after the Lions game or just after the bye week.
After the bye week, because I got to see what the rest of the NFL does
Okay.
when the Vikings are off.
So I didn't really think we would have to do this year, but I think we need to do a little NFC power rankings. So we'll just say teams that you think are undisputedly better than the Vikings. So teams
Oh,
that you would take over the Vikings easily. So I'll start
doesn't
off
mean.
with the one.
Go ahead.
I'll start off with the team that I think that you and me would both obviously take over the Vikings, and I think this is the only one that's really undisputed, which is the Lions.
Oh,
You
I
agree
know.
there?
Painful to say. Painful because their coach is a moron. Don't like
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, but yeah, they're probably better than the Vikings. And I actually think the Packers are too. I think the Vikings were fortunate to catch Love coming back from his injury because he was terrible in the first half, and then
Mm-hmm.
he started to figure things out a little bit. So the Packers scare me. I'd probably say Lions and Packers, and then the Vikings are
Let's
just
just
as
say
good as anyone else.
teams that are undisputedly better than the Vikings. So I don't think you can put the Packers in that anymore.
The only reason I can is because the Vikings beat them, but I think after 6 or 7
Yeah.
weeks from now, you'll be able to go back to this podcast and see what I'm talking about. Packers,
Yeah,
I
no, I
think are
agree. The
still better.
Packers are good. I think the Packers are good. I think they're still probably better, but undisputedly better. I don't think I can put them there anymore. So I'd say
You could
Lions.
you could argue the Lions aren't either because they lost, but I think we both
No,
know the
I think
Lions probably are better.
yeah, I'd say the Vikings are the second best teams in the NFC in terms of like undisputedly. Like you could take the Packers or the Vikings. And I see exactly where you're coming from. I agree that Packers will be good, but I actually don't think I've picked the Packers to lose yet this year. So there's that. Oh
You're
yes, I
not
did. I
going to
picked them
believe
to lose
this.
to the Colts.
That the Lions' biggest weakness is their head coach. Smiley's actually better than Meathead over in Detroit. Now, with that said,
Oh yeah.
Detroit's got a really good offense coordinator, Ben Johnson. Defense coordinator, I don't really like him. Aaron Glenn, I think he's average at best.
So what does Campbell specialize in? Just being a meathead?
Making an aggressive calls that the fans love. They think that he's very bold, but he's a good motivator. He gets them motivated.
But
But
like schematically, what does he do? Nothing.
probably not. No, he might. He might do special teams because I think that was his best role as an NFL player.
Yeah.
He was a fullback special team guy.
I would say the Vikings are probably in the top 3 all around coaching staffs. So that doesn't just mean Smiley. That includes Brian Flores, Josh McCown, quarterback coach, Keenan McCardell, receivers coach. I don't love Wes Phillips, but he's
Yeah, he
okay.
doesn't. He doesn't impress me much, but
He's
and
okay. I mean, the Vikings offense is usually good, although we all know that's because of O'Connell. Just like you said, O'Connell was only good because of McVay, so maybe he is good. But I mean, Wes Phillips, he hasn't really done anything good or bad other than getting a DUI. So
probably say that's not good, but that's up for debate, I guess.
did you see Eddie Lacy got a quote unquote extreme DUI?
I did. I don't even know what an extreme DUI is. I didn't know there was
Me
different. Moderate.
neither, but it probably can't be good.
End of the day, you get a DUI, you get a DUI, not good. But yeah, Eddie
Yeah.
Lacy was a marginal running back for the Packers.
Yeah, he was good for like 1 or 2 years. I remember him playing, which means he had to have been pretty good if he's an opposing team because he played when I was younger, probably like 8 or 9. And then he went to the Seahawks, and he hopefully they probably have good McDonald's in Green Bay and Seattle based off how his career went. But so I think the Vikings are probably the third best team in the NFC. Like I truly believe they're a third best behind the Packers and Lions, which isn't good because those are 2 division opponents. But I do think they're a third best. I think they're better than the Niners this year. I think they're better than the Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys. Better than the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks are a true 3-1 team. They haven't really played anybody.
However, it's early. You would never want to play them in the playoffs in Seattle. That would not be good.
No,
And I don't think I would want to play Washington either in the
I would
play
be I would be fine playing Washington at home. I'd feel pretty comfortable
at
there.
home, but not on the road.
I don't really think the Vikings. Oh, actually, the Vikings might get the 5th seed, similar to how Cowboys did last year. Even though they'll probably have a better record than the 4 seed and 3 seed, they'll probably get the 5 seed just because of the Lions or Packers.
Yep, it'll be interesting.
Yep. But long story short, exceeding expectations by a lot, and it doesn't look like a fluky team. It looks more of a It looks like a good team. I think everyone would agree with that. They look good.
September for show, January for dough.
Yeah, you said that every week. So
Yep. Now we move on to October.
yep. So, anyways, we'll get going with the predictions. We already both took the Buccaneers over the Falcons. Next game in London, we got Vikings versus Jets. I was gonna say Vikings or Jets at the Vikings, but that doesn't really count. So I'll just say Vikings versus Jets in London.
We got to pick a score.
Yep.
So I saw somewhere that a guy his prediction of the week or bet of the week, whatever you want to call it, was to take the Vikings under 21 points scored.
That's fair.
So, but if that's true, that's a loss, I think. So I'm going to go Vikings 17, Jets 20 in a disappointing loss in London. A-Raj does just enough, and the Vikings offense sputters a little bit. The Jets do have a good defense. Jets 20, Vikings 17.
So you kind of stole my exact prediction.
What?
I won't make the same prediction. For the record, I think the Jets will beat the Vikings. I mean, I'm at the point where I think the Vikings are probably better than the Jets, but I'm more in the I'm in the Vikings fan stage of like there's no way they're gonna get to 5-0, which is why I think they'll lose to the Jets. But I'll pick the Vikings just because you didn't and you stole my prediction. So I'll just do the same score, but Vikings win 20-17 Vikings.
Nice. You never like it either when the media, both locally and nationally, jump on the Vikings bandwagon.
No.
And for the first 4 weeks, everybody's picked against them. And now this week, I've seen a number of national and local sports writers or columnists or radio people say that, oh my gosh, the Vikings by 2.5 over the Jets. That's a lock. That's free money. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, I think the Jets will probably win, but I mean, I was just trying to be different. They're going to be 5-0, especially with the teams they've played. So that's really what it is. I think if you were just to pick rosters, like I think if you were an outside fan, I understand why you picked the Vikings. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But as a Vikings fan, I think we all know what's going to happen. We just don't know when. Whether it's the NFC Championship missing a kick or midseason crumble, the Vikings are going to find a way to break everyone's heart and make things suck. So I'm going the Vikings, but I want to pick the Jets. You just stole my score.
You can change the score and pick the Jets.
No, I think that's exactly what the score will be. I think that the winner will have 20 and the loser will have less than that.
All right.
And I mean, the Vikings are 4-0, so it's not like I'm picking the Panthers to beat the Chiefs. But speaking of which, next game.
I think you should send Christian a link to do a Skol show from London since he's going either the night before the game or the night after the night of the game.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Have him do it from a Vikings pub.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll take that offline, but I think you got to get the Skol Show special London episode. If I was there, we would do it.
Yeah, we were going to do it after the Texans game, but we just didn't. So.
All right.
Next game we have Panthers at Bears. This should probably be a terrible game. Who you got winning this?
Bears.
I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Because I mean the Panthers have looked good lately. Andy Dalton's better than Bryce Young, but that's not that hard. Caleb Williams sucks, and this is just gonna be a terrible game. So pretty much a pick 'em, which is why I'm going the opposite.
So listen to this.
Panthers.
For as bad as everybody thinks the Bears are, if they win and the Vikings lose, they're only one game behind the Vikings. Let that sink in.
Yep, that's something. Next game we have Browns at Commanders. I'm gonna go with the Commanders. Actually, this is a tough one because Deshaun Watson's starting to play better, and I don't think the Commanders, similar to the Vikings, I don't think they're 3-1 is legit. So I'll still go with the Commanders, but I think the Browns have a chance.
Browns will beat the Redskins.
Yep. Next game, Dolphins at Patriots. Ugh, Dolphins are terrible now, but I think they'll beat the Patriots.
I'm going opposite. Patriots will win because the Dolphins are horrid.
The Dolphins are so bad, but so are the Patriots. And
Horrid.
the Dolphins at least have playmakers, so I think that Tyreek and HN and Waddle will be enough to beat the Patriots. But that they're terrible. Next game, Colts at Jaguars. Jaguars have been terrible too, but I'm gonna pick them. I think
Yeah,
they're not a 0-4 team.
yeah, they get off the snide. They win.
Yep. Next game, Bills at Texans. This should be a good game. Oh,
The Bills got handed to them last week by the Ravens, and I picked the Ravens.
yeah.
It's at Texans.
Yes.
I think the Bills rebound and win on the road.
I'm gonna go with the Bills as well. They're probably a better team. Texans are good though. I mean, this should be actually a fun game. I'll be looking forward to watching this, especially since the Vikings will be over by then. Next game we have Ravens at Bengals. A lot of division games this week, but Ravens at Bengals. Oh, I'm gonna go with the Bengals. Ravens just handed it to the Bills. Bengals are starting to catch on. I'm a big Bengals guy. If Vikings didn't exist, I'd probably be a Bengals fan. So I'm gonna
Who'd
pick
the
the Bengals.
Bengals play last week?
I'll find out. 1-3. They got their first win last week versus the Panthers.
Oh, I'm going Ravens. Ravens are way better.
Yeah, but division game and Bengals are catching on. Ravens just crushed the team. So, anyways, next game Raiders at Broncos. Ooh, I'm gonna go with the Broncos. Devonta
Yeah,
Adams hates
Broncos.
life right now.
Broncos.
Yeah, how do you feel about Devonta Adams just hating life as a Raider, not playing probably another snap ever?
Not surprised at all. As soon as A-Raj went to the Jets, I figured he'd end up there. And he said his two teams he wants to go to are the Saints or the Jets. I don't know why he'd want to go to the Saints, but whatever.
Because of Derek Carr. That's the whole reason.
Oh,
He
yeah,
to
that's right. They're buddies.
Yep. Next game, Cardinals at Niners. I think this is a good game. And I've been picking the Cardinals in upsets this whole year, and it hasn't gone well for me. But I'll do it again here. Cardinals beat the Niners.
I think the Niners will find a way to win.
Yeah, they usually do. I'm going to keep going on this Cardinals upset train until it finally happens. Giants at Seahawks. Ooh. I want to go with another upset here. I think this will be a weird week.
Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with the Giants.
Ooh, I'm going Sea Chickens. Daniel, whatever his name is, isn't even starting. I don't even know who their backup is.
Yeah, he is.
No, I heard he's not.
No, he is. It was a fake report from a
right.
Twitter account. I saw the same thing. They were saying that the team doesn't want him to start anymore, but that was not true.
Either way, even if he played, I would go with the Sea Chickens at home.
Yeah, I'm picking a lot of upsets this week. I think there'll be a weird week just because it's a lot of games that you would expect a winner to clearly win, and that usually ends up being chaos. So next game, Packers at Rams. I'm gonna go with the Packers. I don't think this is an upset. Rams whole team is dead. Packers are good, so Packers.
Yeah, the Rams have passed away. The Packers are going to crush.
Yeah, probably, especially after losing to the Vikings, and I think the Vikings. It was a 2-point game, but I think the Vikings crushed the Packers. Like, I mean, I wasn't really worried the whole time the Packers are coming back. I mean,
got a little dicey. I don't like you never like it when you're outscored 29-3. And the quarterback had 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's not good.
Yeah.
Did you see the Vikings defensive players said that they're treating the game as if they lost it because they played so bad in the second half?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. And that's actually a good thing because they're learning from wins instead of learning from losses.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas last year they were like, all right, we got to stop turning it over. But that's after they're 0-3. And the Vikings probably would have made the playoffs last year. The Vikings could have been really good last year if Kirk didn't get hurt and they didn't start 0-3. Maybe they started 1-2 or 2-1.
Yeah,
I think the Vikings could have been a playoff team. So, I mean, it all comes down to, learning from mistakes, but they got to win. And a huge win, too. Division game, that's a real test. I mean, they played well. They just, if the roles were reversed and the Vikings were outscored 29-3 at halftime, and they scored 28-0 in the second half, I think it would be flipped. So I think it's unfair to say they played terrible. I think they played good. So Packers are probably still upset about that. Both teams probably are, so I'm picking the Packers. Next game, we have Cowboys at Steelers. I'm gonna go with the. Oh, I kind of want to go with the Steelers here, but I'm not going to. I'm picking the Cowboys. They usually are good in prime time.
I think the Cowboys will win too. Wait,
Yep.
when's the game?
Sunday night.
If it was Monday night, I'd go Steelers, but I'm going Cowboys because it's Sunday night.
What difference is the
There,
day
you'll have to
change?
look up look up the Steelers' record on Monday Night Football.
Is it really good?
Insanely good, especially at
All
home.
right. Next game, Saints at Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are good, although their whole team is dying. And
Yeah, Mahomes
oh,
killed their receiver,
that
and
was bad.
Kelsey hasn't been good. Guys, it's hard to pick against the Chefs at home. The Saints on the road on grass, gross. Chefs, I pick reluctantly.
Yep. So that wraps up this week's predictions. Pretty fast episode, 20 minutes. If you want to add anything, go ahead. College football, nothing really happened. But Iowa bye week. Gophers, I think, won, right?
Gophers lost. They won. They had a moral victory against Michigan.
Oh,
They
yeah,
got
that's
they
right.
got jobbed by the refs, I guess, at the end on an onside kick. Um, College football is not very good though. We do need to talk Cat real quick. Timberwolves made an
Oh, yeah,
earth-shattering
that's
trade,
right.
and the more I hear people talk about it, the more I read about it, the more I like it. And I think it's not even close.
I
This
think the Timberwolves won the trade. Although, I mean, I feel bad for Cat, and I mean, I don't like to see him go because I mean, he's kind of the first player I felt like he was drafted when I first started really watching basketball, and he's been playing the whole time. So I mean, I'm disappointed to see him go, but I think it's a good move. So that's
Yeah,
really
I
what
understand
that's
that
for
from
me.
your perspective. For mine, though, I feel bad for my back because my back is sore from helping him pack his bags last weekend after he got traded Friday. I drove down to Minneapolis. I couldn't help him pack fast enough. I've wanted him to be traded for years. That's not why I like the trade. Um, and I don't know. The jury's still out on the trade. But the number one reason I like the trade the most is two reasons. I think Cat is not a winner, doesn't do the intangibles, never will be a winner. That we'll find out. And then the second reason is this guard they got. The more I hear about him, oh my gosh, I think people are gonna love him. He had 283 made 3-pointers last year,
Yeah, he's
and
good.
the dude's a stud. He's a dog. What I mean by that is he's everything Cat is not. He's a competitor. He's a battler. He's gritty. He wants to win at all costs. I never ever saw that in Cat ever.
I think we saw that from Cat a little bit in the Nuggets series, but other than that, in his whole career, I
Little
mean,
bit, little
I
bit.
we definitely saw it in the Nuggets series, but the problem with that is that's one out of probably like 6 or 7 series in his career, and again, only 6 and 7 series in his career in 9 years.
Yeah, that's
So I agree with that. Like I said, Timberwolves probably won the trade. I'm just disappointed to see Cat go, and I feel bad for him. He is a definition of like a team player. He bought into playing defense. He bought into being the second option. He bought into just Minnesota as a whole. He never requested a trade through everything. Jimmy Butler being there, hating everybody. I know that Jim Lee's probably right in that situation, but I mean, from Cat's perspective, that life sucked and he stuck through it. Some terrible years. Ant getting injured, himself fighting through injuries, and he's just a good guy. So I feel bad for Cat, but
well,
basketball's a business, and I think it was a good idea that way.
and it could be nobody wins the trade. It could be both of them do well, but I was gonna sign off on Cat saying he got owned by Jimmy Buckets and the Timberwolves third string players. That is classic. That's one of the best stories of all time.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But we'll go into Julius Randle. Pretty similar to Cat. A lot of the things you listed off about being bad about Cat are pretty much bad in Julius Randle too. I'm not a huge fan of his. Hoping they trade him for something, but if he does end up being on the team, obviously I'm going to support him because he plays for the Timberwolves. But I'm not a huge fan of him yet. He'll have to earn that. Whereas Dante, I think I already like him a lot. Joe Ingles, I like him a lot. Rob Dillingham, I like him a lot. Uh, Randall's gonna have to earn that with me. That doesn't mean I won't ever like him, but I don't like him yet. His his average is kind of like what you see from a bad cat. Like
Can't look
I
at
don't know.
stats though. The biggest
Yeah, no,
difference
I'm not.
between those two is Randall's. He's like a pit bull. He's a dog, like the other guy they got. He's tough. The team became way tougher from anybody that knows the NBA that talks about it, and that's a huge thing
Yeah,
because you got to be tough in the playoffs. Well, they got to get there first.
yeah. I mean, Cat. The main thing that they're gonna lose basketball wise from Cat is probably just being a mismatch, and you're gonna have to acknowledge him from beyond three. Like he'll get doubles behind the 3 point line, which opens up spacing for Rudy down low and to drive, kick it out to Jaden McDaniels in the corner. So I think that's what they'll miss most from Cat. I do agree that he isn't dog compared to the other two, but Randall's kind of similar to Gobert, and where obviously he can still shoot the three in the mid range, but his best skill set is within the paint, driving, which I think is probably too compatible with Ant and Rudy for me. Like compatible in terms of similar, I think that it doesn't really mesh well, and I think that Cat's probably a better scheme fit than him. But obviously, you get Dante. That bench unit is going to be insane with Nas and Dante. And then you still got Nikhil, Rob Dillingham, if he turns out to be solid. Joe Ingles was good. And we got some interesting guys like Josh Minot, Terrence Shannon, and Leonard Miller.
The Skull Show turned into Timberwolves fan line. Everybody.
The Wolves were.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, we'll see what happens. One major injury to Ant, and all this is not even worth talking about because they'll be horrible. So Ant's got to stay healthy and continue to improve, and they'll be a contender as long as he is healthy. And if he ever gets hurt, they're not going to be. It's pretty simple now.
I think that with Ant getting hurt, though, I think they can keep him in the playoff race, which
Yeah, but
huge.
they would not do anything more than that.
No, I'm saying like Ant misses from November to February. I think you can survive that.
Well, better hope that he stays healthy. Like MJ never
Oh
got
yeah.
hurt. Better hope Ant never gets hurt.
Has LeBron really gotten hurt too? I feel like
Not really. No.
yeah. That's a big thing that makes them the goats is that they
Yep.
are always available.
You got to play.
Like Bud Grant said, best ability is availability. So
Yep.
Ant's been a little bit injury prone. I mean, he hasn't really like missed games. He has, but like he hasn't really missed like large amount of games due to injury. But at once every like other week, I feel like during the season you would have the scare where he'd be on the court holding his ankle and it looked like he snapped it, and then he would come out 2 minutes later after
Yeah.
a timeout.
He plays hard.
Yeah, so they should be good this year. I don't know if I don't necessarily think they're contenders. Like they're contenders, but I don't think they really got higher or lower with that trade. I just think that they can survive an Ant injury in terms of being a playoff team. And I'm talking about a regular season injury. I think they can stay afloat, maybe make a play in, which I think they'd crush play in game with Ant and them.
You don't want to
So
play in game though. That's gross.
no, I'm just saying if Ant were to miss time, I feel more comfortable in them because their bench unit is dang. The three top bench people are dang near starters on most teams. So
Yeah,
especially Nas.
They might start slow though because it's gonna take a while for them to mesh.
Yeah.
So they
Yep.
might the first 2 months they might not be that great.
Yep. Which I think is okay. So that's all I got on the Timberwolves. Twins eliminated from the playoffs, but I think we already knew that was going to happen when we made the last episode because they were terrible then too. Lynx
I
are
have one thing to say on the Twins. The ownership is ridiculous. I don't even care about payroll, like whatever. But they are kicking fans out of games for having mean signs. Like, what are we even doing? What an embarrassment! And then you have Carlos Correa and Royce Lewis taking cheap shots at each other via the media. Not good situations going on over there at the Twins. They better figure it out.
Yeah. The one. Well, there's a lot of good things going on in Minnesota right now, but probably the best things in terms of their sport. I don't think anybody really cares about it, but the Lynx, they're 1-1 right now in the conference finals, or to be in the conference finals. Yeah, they're in the conference finals. They're 1-1 in a series best of 5. So, I mean, we
Yeah,
might see another Lynx banner. I don't think anyone will care, but they'll fill up the Target Center's half the. I think it's the probably. I don't know if it's the north or south side, but the half of the visitors' half of Target Center will get another banner.
The only banner on the Timberwolves side is Malik Sealy, and he died. That's
Yep,
why it's
and
up there.
Flip Sanders or
And
Saunders.
Garnett's not up there because he hates Glenn Taylor, which hard to disagree with him.
Oh, I bet Cat will be up there eventually once he retires.
Maybe.
So, yep, that's all I have today. 30-minute episode, not bad.
All right.
You got anything bad?
No, I think you should do a skull show from London. So let me know.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching this video. See you next time. Vikings, hopefully 5-0 by then. See ya.